Oh, maybe that's too far away. Alright, let me just move up here a bit before we begin, just because I feel really far away now. Yeah, it's a bit better. Alright, so this is episode 4 of The Bee Show. I'd like to thank you everyone for tuning in. Today we're going to do things a little differently. Most of my episodes before have been one part, just a one shot and one go kind of a thing. But my guests are going to be appearing at different times. My first guest, as you can see here, is my sister Ariana. We'll start here. How are you doing, Ariana?
I'm doing alright.
Yeah? How's school been? I know you are in media school, and it is a very unique class of sorts. Do you want to talk about it a little bit?
Well, I just got my new assignment, which is like a personal poem assignment, and we're going to see each other's works on Monday.
And by each other, you mean your other classmates?
Yes.
Okay. Now, if I'm correct, one of my old drama teachers, he used to teach at Murray, his name is Mr. Symes, is your teacher. Is that correct?
Yes.
That's right. Yeah, he's a really interesting fella. Let's see here. So you said it's a poem assignment. What kind of poem are you doing?
Oh, it's like, it's one about, I did mine based on myself.
Okay. Did you want to say it for us, or are you not done yet?
I ran up to it.
Okay, no worries. Just thought I would, since you brought it up, that I might ask about it. So we're doing the second episode here in April. The second April episode. Now, obviously the first one, we wanted it Easter themed. I mean, Maddie and I kind of touched base on that last episode, that it was kind of Easter a little bit near the end. But April has other themes to it as well. Now, there's 2 of them. Do you want to wager a guess what those 2 themes are, Ariana?
I don't really know about that. I haven't been watching any of the other episodes, so...
No, it's a general thing. Like, when people talk about April as it's this month, it's the month for this kind of awareness, what are they usually talking about? There's usually 2 things they're referring to. Usually...
April Fools and Easter?
Close. Obviously, those are specific holidays. I'm talking about the entire month. Now, on the first... Yes, it's April Fool's, but they also tell you to light up the blue. Now, what are they talking about when they tell you to light up the blue?
Well, Autism Awareness Month.
Autism Awareness Month is one of them. Now, on the 22nd of April, there's a specific day that we celebrate because of where we live. And we bring awareness to how to protect the place where we live. Now, what are they usually talking about there?
I don't know.
It's okay. It's not really a test. What they're talking about is Earth Month. Earth Day and Earth Month. So, this month is Autism Awareness Month, of course. So, for those who have family members who are autistic, or they themselves are autistic, or perhaps they don't have anyone in their family, or they are not autistic themselves, they just know people who are, or they want to bring awareness to those people that are, to try to normalize it. There is a specific organization that is, we'll call them a popular and more well-known head of autism awareness, but they do it in a way that demonizes autistic people and makes them seem like they are monstrous for being autistic. And then I don't think that's something we need to bring awareness to this month, because obviously my sister here is a wonderful young lady, and I love her very much, and I would not use any of those words to describe her. Now, Ariana, with Autism Awareness Month, when you meet someone else and they're not really sure what to think of you being autistic, what kind of things do you tell them to reassure them that you are just like everybody else, that you are fine, you're just a normal person? What do you say to them?
I would tell them to respect personality.
Okay. What about personality, your personality, that they need to respect, that they need to go into it with a more open mind about?
I don't really know.
No, it's a very deep question. There's no right or wrong answer. What about someone who's not necessarily, they're not going to disrespect you, but they're just not sure how to act around you? What would you tell them to, reassure them that you're okay?
I'm not really sure about that one either, so...
Okay. Well, your friends in a media school, do you have a couple friends that you have there?
Yeah?
Yeah. What was it like when you first met them?
Well, I felt kind of shy at first.
Okay.
Then I got used to it.
Okay. What about them? How did they react around you?
They felt comfortable around me.
Really? That's really awesome, because a lot of people, they wouldn't. They would meet an autistic person and they would be unsure how to react. Sometimes they would just try not to talk to you or engage with you at all. And I think that is, in a way, a form of discrimination right there. Just not even going to try because of fear. And I'm glad that your friends were comfortable with you and very open to being your friend. That's awesome. Now, we've kind of touched base a little bit on the autism awareness. Let's move into the Earth Month, bringing awareness to the fact that our planet is dying. It's literally on fire right now. And what would you say, Ariana, is the main reasons for the fact that our planet is dying?
Well, one of them is that time is speeding up in milliseconds.
And are you referring to time speeding up in milliseconds, referring to the rotation of the planet, or are you referring to time as a construct created by humans?
Well, if time is speeding up all this time, it means that there's lots of pollution still in the world.
That's true, but part of pollution isn't really time's fault. It's whose fault?
It's our fault.
That's right. Now, what kind of things are polluting our planet? What kind of things do humans do that are just really, really bad for the planet?
Breeding plastic in the ocean.
That's right. There's a lot of plastic being thrown into your garbage, and most garbage ends up in the ocean. There's that. What about the things that break down our atmosphere? Can you think of something really huge that it basically breaks down the little barrier that keeps us from having no oxygen left on the planet? That barrier between space and us.
I don't really know about that.
Well, think about cars. Not fossil fuels. Now, when fossil fuels break down, they turn into what?
Greenhouse gas.
That's right, and greenhouse gases are very bad for our atmosphere. They thin it. They slice little tiny layers off of them, and little by little, it gets thinner and thinner to the point where it breaks completely. And when that happens, we are subject to the vacuum of space. All the oxygen from the planet will get sucked out, and our planet will die even faster. Now, the barrier also does a secondary thing. it also keeps deadly gamma rays from our sun from cooking us alive and irradiating our planet. Now, can you imagine what would happen if that kind of thing happened, let's say, next year? Do you think we'd be ready for our planet roasting us?
I would be running for my life.
I don't think you'd be able to run very far unless you had your own plane and you were able to fly to the other side of the planet, the side facing away from the sun, because it would cook the entire planet within probably a few hours. And well, we don't have any other planets colonized yet, so we can't go to anywhere else.
Yeah. Well,
These kind of things.
Well, most likely
Sorry?
we'd be dead if that were to happen.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And part of this is it's hard to stop because we've gotten to a point so far that the amount of pollution we put into the world is irreversible. You know, the damage is kind of done, as the phrase goes. But there are still things we can do to try to salvage what years we have left on our planet. Now, we still have probably about 200 or 300 years max left. So we won't die in our lifetime from, you know, the sun expanding and roasting us. And we won't die from, you know, the dangerous effects of climate change or anything like that. But the next generation, the generation after that generation, they're going to inherit the planet as we've left it. Now, what kind of steps do you think we should be taking right now to try to limit our footprint, our pollution that's going into the planet?
We could probably have eco-friendly technology.
Okay, that definitely is a slower good step towards it. I'm talking things that are faster, something that you can do every day.
What about buying an electric car?
Okay, I mean, that's good if you got the money for it. Electric cars definitely are something you can do. That is a fast step, but let's say you're not rich, you don't have the money to buy a car, maybe you can't even drive a car.
I don't know about that.
Well, one, you don't litter. It's a good thing. Pick up litter that you see and toss it out, recycle. Take public transit as much as possible. Obviously, it's a little bit of a fear thing with COVID, but you know, you wear a mask, you hand sanitize regularly. There's steps you can take to prevent catching this virus, but you can still be making an effort to save our planet. Trying to think what else we can do. I don't know, donate to climate change initiatives, things like that. It's definitely a few things you can do. I can't obviously list them all off the top of my head, but those are really big ones, I would say, that you can do now. When you're at Starbucks, always ask for their strawless lids, because if you think about it, all those straws, they get tossed in the garbage, and that contributes to the waste, the pollution, or bring your own straw is another good one. I'm going to be doing that now. I have a few cool straws that I can use. I think we've talked enough about what this month is. I wanted to keep this one light and breezy, my show in general, but this month is a huge one for that. Yesterday there was another, not really a holiday. It's another day of awareness of sorts. It was I think it was a sexuality day of awareness, or day of visibility. I don't know what the No, that one happened in March, Ariana. That was March 31st, was Transgender Day of Visibility. That one we've already celebrated. But asexuality is when you don't ever want to have sex with somebody. You don't see the appeal to being that kind of person with somebody. You don't see the need to be with someone that in that way. And that is something that I am myself. And, you know, on top of being transgender, on top of being, you know, a lesbian, things like that, I am the kind of person who believes that there's more to relationships than just having sex with them. You know, just loving them, being their, you know, a friend, like their best friend in a way, being there for them, helping them grow, that kind of thing. And yeah, I didn't do a lot to celebrate yesterday. It was just really busy and stuff. And it kind of came upon me all of a sudden, but I think now today that I have a little more time, you know, obviously I don't have the asexuality flag. I'd like to get one eventually, but I don't know, I guess talking about it a bit now, I don't know if anything I've just said went over your head, Ariana. Like, is there anything that you didn't understand about what I said?
Well, I don't really know much about asexuality because I'm not really asexual. Because I consider myself to be straight.
No, that's fair. Asexuality doesn't really mean anything in that sense. You could still be straight, want to date guys and stuff, but you don't want to have sex with those guys. Does that make any sense? Like, you just want to have a boyfriend. Like, so in that, so I guess I was more just seeing where you were with understanding what sex was, I guess. Not a really interesting topic, but okay, so that makes sense to me then. And I'm glad it makes sense to you. I don't know. I don't really have a lot planned for it now. I guess we can talk about how my week was. I didn't get that far. My schedule got mixed up for fashion design school. I was ended up getting the wrong classes. Classes that I wouldn't be able to physically take without the right supplies, the right... Well, I guess I wouldn't be able to take them until I'm in Vancouver, you know, where I'm moving this fall. I don't know, did you know that, Ariana? I don't know if I just dropped a big bombshell on you.
No, not really.
Oh, crap. Well, for fashion design school, which, did you know that I was in that at least?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, the fashion design school specifically is actually in Vancouver. And I'm going to have to eventually move there once I'm done taking the online classes for it. Because there's a few online classes I could take when I'm there, or I could take them here. So the school is working with me, knowing, you know, what I have for money, what I don't have, you know, what I can do, what I can't do. And then they're just trying to work my schedule accordingly. I know one of the classes I'm taking is Photoshop. I think one is like color and something. I learn about, you know, the different colors that you can use and probably matching and you know, making sure things go together. I mean, I probably got most of that down, but maybe I'll be able to look at it in a different way. I don't remember what the third class was that they've given me. They've given me a proper schedule now. So I'm thinking one of those classes is supposed to happen tonight, maybe. I don't know. I still need to sign on to my account, but which I'm having a lot of difficulties with. What else can I talk about? I mean, there's this show. We're doing this show tonight. Obviously, we're doing it in 2 parts. Yeah, my guest tonight, if you you guys can know now, because this is going to be stitched together, both parts. We're going to have alternative pop artist, well, she's more of a star now here in Canada. Her name's Valors. I know her as Ava, as we went to high school together. And my friend Theo, who's coming on. He was actually one of my old bosses, but we became more friends afterwards. Theo is a gender fluid man. Well, I mean, some days he feels more like a man, some days he feels more womanly. So he uses he, him pronouns, and he uses they, them pronouns. It just depends on the day. He has that ability, and I think it's beautiful that he's able to express himself in both of those ways. Yeah, we'll have some good conversations with them tonight. Another update about my original co-host. There was a plan for me to do this show with my best friend Taryn, but I actually haven't heard from her in a few days. Originally, she just had a lot of computer issues, not having the right piece of technology to run Iris FM here, which is the format, the recording sort of medium we used for recording the show. Let me think here. Yeah, she said it was getting fixed, her computer, but I haven't heard from her in a while, so I don't know what the story is. Yeah, so I will have to find out, and then I can give you guys a better update. Yeah, because I know the show's going to get crazy once we have her on a regular basis. You know what, let's jump into our What You Watching segment right now. So, this week, Ariana, Mom's been telling me you've been binge watching a specific anime show on Netflix. What show is that?
Oh, it's called Love, Chunibyo, and Other Delusions.
Love? What's the next word?
Chunibyo.
Chunibyo.
And Other Delusions.
And Other Delusions. Now, roughly, could you explain the premise of the show?
Oh, it's about this girl who thinks she's like a servant of the Wicked Lord.
The Wicked Lord. Now, is this like a sort of Satan-y figure?
Oh, but there's one boy who wants her to just go into reality and stay in reality.
Okay. So, where is she most of the time?
Oh,
if she's not in reality.
In her own little world.
Own the world. And that's obviously not a metaphor. She literally has her own little dimension.
Yeah.
Okay. I'll have to check it out. Maybe. I don't know. I'm not a huge anime fan. Is it dubbed or is it...
I usually watch it in its original version with subtitles.
With subtitles, right? Like a proper anime. I'm gonna just drink my coffee here. Alright. So you're doing that. Are you gaming much lately? Still Skyrim on the Nintendo Switch?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah. Has Dad actually voiced any interest in getting... Well, I guess you can't. You don't... Do you guys have an Xbox One yet, or no?
No, we still have the 360.
360. Yeah, that's not going to work. I mean, you could play on PC, I guess, with Steam. Have you guys talked about getting Mass Effect Legendary Edition?
Not yet.
No? It's definitely something I'm looking into, especially when I get my computer. I have to wait to get my student loan money first, though. But is definitely want to get it on the computer, and then I also want to get it for my Xbox One, which you can't really see. It's behind this chair here. It's right down there. Right. Hopefully it works a lot better than Cyberpunk did this year. Gosh, that was a horrible game for people who have just plain Xbox Ones. It actually only works well on like the Series S or X, which obviously is way too expensive for its own good. But alright, well I guess we can is that all you've been watching and playing, Ariana?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. Well, what I've been watching, I watched a movie on Netflix called Alita Battle Angel finally got to watch it. It's an older movie. I think it's like from 2019 or something. It's based off an anime though. But it's obvious they made it English and with live action characters and stuff. Alita's a cyborg. Like her brain's human but full of cybernetic parts, so that she's like brilliant. She's really smart. But she was also built as a warrior kind of cyborg. One that fought this old war a long time ago or something, but the movie starts where she's in a junkyard. They only find her head and like a little bit of her chest where her like powerful heart is. She's got this heart that's like an antimatter generator, like it's super powerful. And obviously she gets rescued by this, I don't know, mechanic / doctor thing. And she gets put back together with a new body. She doesn't know who she is. She's learning about the world. But she knows she's super strong. She can fight really good. And she's really interested in just learning everything she can. Super good movie. Highly recommend. I can't say any more without spoiling it. So you might even want to go to the library and pick out the mangas of it, because it is really good. Oh no, no, that's a confusing thing. And manga's only for Chinese graphic novels, correct, Ariana?
Well, manga is traditionally made in Japan. So it's like
it is
manga.
Okay. It is Japanese. Okay, so I did say it right. I'm so confused right now. I'm confusing myself here. So yes, it would be a manga. Right. Whew. I'm sweating. Yeah, I've been doing that. I've been playing a bit of Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six Siege, some ranked matches. You're basically like this. I don't know how a great way to describe it. There's like elite soldiers you can pick from with different abilities or different skills, and you're either trying to rescue a hostage, disable a bomb if you're an attacker, or just eliminate all the enemies. Or if you're the other side, you're either trying to protect a hostage, and by protect I mean kill anyone who tries to take your hostage, make sure the bomb goes off, so kill anyone who tries to disable it, or just stay in your house and try to kill anyone who comes in. So you're either an attacker or a defender. It's interesting. I'm really bad at it. There's way too many good people who make it, when you play multiplayer matches online, make it not fun because they kill you too fast. I've been playing Mass Effect 3. I beat the game on hardcore. Now I'm doing another playthrough on Insanity. It's my first ever Insanity run, I'm a little scared. So far it's been very difficult, but once I do that, then hopefully by then Legendary Edition's out and I can pick that up. But I guess that's about it. I mean, other than watching a few horror movies. I like horror movies. So, let's see. I don't really have much else prepared. Is there anything else you want to talk about, Ariana?
Not really.
No? Alright, well, it's been lovely having you on, and we'll have to talk more soon. We'll have to have you on, some time in the future again, and, alright. Oh, it's got a countdown first here. Alright, so for the rest of you who was tuning in earlier to the part 1 of this podcast, we are back, and I am joined by my guest. I know her as Ava, but the world knows her as Valores. So welcome, Valores, Ava. Let's start with how you're doing.
I'm doing well. Thank you so much. How are you?
I'm good. Yeah, today has been an interesting day. I had like a scheduling mix-up with my fashion design classes. They gave me like all the wrong ones.
Oh gosh,
And
I'm sorry.
so, it's not a big deal on my end because, I wasn't, I told them I was ready for it, but then like all these anxieties kick in when it's like a new, like,
Absolutely. Anything
yes.
new is just terrifying. Yeah.
Right. So, it was kind of both a relief and, it's still frustrating, but, yeah, so they fixed it for me. They were like, okay, here's your new schedule. Here's how you get onto your classes. You've missed 2. And I'm like, well, I didn't miss 2. I wasn't scheduled in them yet.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then they're like, well, there's one tomorrow. And I'm like, okay, I can make tomorrow's one. That's good. And they're just like, okay, good. You can get in. Yeah, so they fixed all that. And then, I don't know. I guess I've just been, looking for jobs and stuff in between, stuff that I can do while I'm in school. And, I don't know, I guess doing this podcast every week, which has been interesting. It's definitely been something I'm not, I guess I'm kind of used to. I mean, it's basically just your drama
Chatting.
training. Yeah. And you're training from, you're just chatting with people essentially, but you really work your drama skills. I mean, everything like that. So I guess I'm kind of used to that. What else can I say? Yeah, I mean, it's been good. I don't know. I've just been hanging out and stuff and enjoying my time to myself. I know it's going to get really hectic soon now that I'm going to be in school. And then obviously I'm going to be moving to Vancouver this fall to continue my studies in fashion design.
Yeah, that's really exciting. Vancouver's a really great place to live and a great place to kind of journey off to. So I'm excited for you for that.
Oh, thank you. It's I don't know how to describe it, because it's a really nice city, and I don't know, I've always been drawn to big cities. Like, I wrote something a long time ago, something about, you can't really hate a city because it's constantly changing. There's always so many layers to it, and, I described, Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, just agreeing with you, and, there's always new people coming in and out of it. So, yeah, of course, it's always changing, because there's always, I think, it's kind of like it can never stop. I mean, it's I think there are many cities that never sleep. Vancouver's definitely one of them.
Yeah. Yeah, I always love that term, the city that never sleeps. Obviously, they're referring usually to New York, but I feel like that applies to multiple big cities.
Especially
but I also described it where it was yeah, Saskatoon is pretty much a town. It's nothing compared to, I even felt it a little bit in Regina, just a little tiny bit, just because mean, they're not really much, like they're smaller than us too, but like just the way their downtown is set up, it's a lot more big city feeling than Saskatoon is. Not by much, but that's like my biggest taste. I guess Winnipeg would be my second, and Edmonton. Okay, so I've tasted it multiple times. Yeah, yeah, but anytime I'm in like around the skyscrapers, I'm like right into the core of downtown. I just feel this energy, this sort of, I don't even know what to describe it, but but it's almost like electricity going through me, bouncing off the buildings around me, around the people. It just makes me feel alive, and
That's awesome.
yeah, it's almost narcotic. It's just it's I dream about that feeling. I wake up, I'm like, oh well, I'm not gonna feel that today because this is where I am, that kind of thing. So when they told me I need to be in Vancouver to do the rest of my studies, online courses for term 1, but the rest of it you need to be on campus for, it was like, I don't care what it takes, I've got to get there because this feeling it's too impossible to pass up, like I'm going to be back in this sort of place where I thrive, or I think I'm going to thrive. I don't know. This is also a new experience for me because I'm going to be independent. I'm going to be relatively on my own.
If you believe in yourself and are doing what you love, you'll thrive.
Yeah. This is definitely something that I believe in, and I think is my way forward. Kind of thing. This is my passion, and I can never say that I had a passion really in high school because I wasn't out yet, but just the last 2 years since I've come out, I just feel like this is the direction I'm going in. It was actually one of my first thoughts after I realized I was a woman, that it was like I need new clothes, and then you go to the store and you're like, well, this is not quite how I'd like it to be. Maybe I'll go home and I'll try to sketch something up. Maybe it'll be something better. And then you sketch it up and you're like, oh crap, I have no money to make this. What am I going to do? And you're just like, oh, I also don't even know how I would start to make it. This is not even a pattern. This is just a draw, so then you're just
drawing,
like, where are you going to go from here?
It. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah. It's like an itch, and then this, 2020 happened. If 2020 didn't happen, and 2020 was not like a bad year, probably would have been in school earlier and stuff like that. But, coming off, being, fired, for discriminative purposes, just based on being trans, and then going into the pandemic year, you just, everything was put on the back burner. Mm-hmm. And yeah, this year, it was literally midnight. It happened. I was like, new mindset. I was positive. I was like, we're not repeating that kind of year again. And it's kind of weird because I was like, I'm gonna do my podcast this year. I'm not gonna put it off. I'm gonna figure out how to do it. And then I figured it out. It actually was a lot more simpler than I thought it was gonna be. And then I was like,
funny?
okay, right?
Isn't that like how most things we are so worked up about and get so nervous about are usually the simplest things?
Was it the similar for you when you wrote like Tell Me or anything like that?
Yeah. Writing music is really, it just kind of comes out, kind of like your drawing. It just happens, and then it's the money to actually have it be made that matters. But you find a way. You find a way to create what you need to create. It's like with any art form or anything. So yeah, for me, that's always been easy, and finding people and working with people has just been, like you going to school, you have to succeed and to keep going. So yeah, it's always been like the songwriting has always been pretty just natural because it just, it's just a part of me. And yeah.
That's amazing. Yeah. I always wonder about that. You hear a lot of popular artists, they put out these amazing tracks. They have like, you wonder where the words come from, and then you do things in life that are kind of, you think that you overthink them. They seem complicated at first, and then you actually just sit down and do it. or sometimes it'll come to you, you know, in the weirdest times where you're cooking, you're showering,
Absolutely.
you know, you're driving to work, you know, whatever it is, you know, something, you hear something in your head or someone says something, you're just like, oh, I gotta keep,
That's-
you know, that kind
yeah.
of thing. You know, it's an idea. Yeah. And I've had that with
Absolutely.
outfits too, where it's like, actually the big one that came out of it was, I was trying to think of an outfit I wanted to wear to a job interview, and it was like pantsuits. You know, I have a couple that, and then, you know, some nice blouses, but when I was putting the outfit together, I was like, well, what if this was pink? And then, okay, what if the buttons were like a blue? Well, exactly the colors like the trans flag behind
I was just
me.
gonna
Like,
say that's amazing. I love
Yeah.
that.
it was like, what if I designed every piece of clothing that I'm gonna wear, you know, for my private label or you know, just like personal collection that's I designed just for me, but I'll eventually sell in like a variety of colors, and then people can like buy the one I designed for myself, you know, as well, and it can be that kind of special thing between my customers and me, where they get to wear what I would wear, you know, and it'll just
I
be
love
my
that.
signature look, you know. So I drew it up, I drew this, and I was thinking, okay, the coat's not long enough. What am I gonna do? Okay, let's think of my favorite pop culture figures who wear really long sort of blazers or dress coats. And obviously Doctor Who came to my head right away. You know, I was like,
Absolutely.
oh, Peter Capaldi's velvet coat. It's like right past his thigh, you know, and I was like, let's design something like that, but obviously slimmer, you know, maybe a little more flattering, you know, and feminine. So I did that and I sketched it out. I was like, oh, this is so good, you know, and you know, it makes me wonder whether or not that it's the same way when it comes to writing or things like that, where you will get all these ideas and then you have to draw from other experiences, from things you like to continue the process. Like, you know, and you know, whether or not if it's like a happy song or something like that, you know, I would assume it's a similar process. Is that correct, or am
Yeah.
I too far
Yeah,
off?
I love no, I like the connection. I absolutely. I think for me, I really can't force myself to write a specific song. I can't go, this is what I want to do. And like it can't be a logical, you know, like it comes from something. Absolutely. It comes from an emotion or a situation that I'm thinking about. It doesn't even have to be one that I specifically went through, but something that, yeah, you're inspired by in that moment. And that's what I love about writing and just creating in general, no matter what art form, is that it comes from an organic place. The best stuff, I think, and the things that people gravitate towards the most in art are the ones that come from the heart of the creator, the ones that, like, you care about the most. The songs that I write, especially the ones that have gotten produced, have all been like very, like, you obviously put in the time, but like they made sense. Like, I sat down and I felt inspired and I wrote most of the song, and it made sense, and I was like, okay, like, this is it. And before I knew it, before I could even think of what the song was about, it was on the page, you know? And then, kind of like you, it's like, oh, well, the coat should be longer. I go, oh, well, this word would actually work better. And then you kind of, you know, you edit and you work through it. But the original idea and the original intent is still there. So yeah, I wouldn't differ those at all. I think very, very similar.
Yeah, and I wasn't sure how I was gonna approach this, because it was like they're technically both art forms, and I was just trying to think, like, you know, obviously they're different art forms, so there's the correlations might be a little different, you know, where you draw the connection and all that, but you know, at its root, art comes from the same place. It comes from, you know, the same part of like your soul or your heart in each creator, you know. And, you know, I just try to, I guess, direct that. And obviously when I came up with things that I wanted to talk about and ask you, that was kind of what I was looking for. I was like, okay, because even back in high school, it was, and it wasn't necessarily, I don't know what the word is. Not like I was trying to compete or trying to measure up, but like there was definitely an apparent level of talent that was just, and rest of us were probably just like in awe of, we noticed it quite early. For you, yes, your talent.
Thank you.
And yeah, I mean, it was there, and
Wow, thank you.
I can recall like 3 moments where it was just like impossible to miss. There was like a grade 9 art class that we did in the auditorium where we did it like a sort of like a talent show.
Yeah,
almost.
It was like a
We
variety.
had
You
Mr.
got to
Symes
pick.
teaching us.
Yeah,
It's
you
a
got
bit
to
of a
pick one of the
throwback.
art. Yeah, you got to pick like
Yeah.
2 art forms, I think, and do those. Yeah.
Yes, and yeah, I believe you chose singing both times, and I believe
I did 2 songs,
I feel like
and
you
then
did Rose's Turn for your song.
I did. Oh my gosh, I did the Rose by Bette Midler on the piano, and then I also did the Man
I knew
That
there
Got
was a
Away.
Rose in it.
Yeah, there was a rose, and then I did the Man
Yeah.
That Got Away, Judy Garland, A Star Is Born, and then I also did do a monologue. I did one from Twelfth Night by William Shakespeare, and that was really fun.
Yeah, so sorry for a bit of a throwback, but yeah, like that was
Thank
the
you. Wow.
first time I noticed it. I was like, because obviously choir began in grade 10, and we weren't quite there yet, but that was the first time I was like, oh my gosh, in my class there is someone who can make it in whichever field she chose, whether it was musicals direction where she would do musical theater, whether she was going to go the direction of being a singer, whether she was just going to go the direction of being a simple act. Well, there's nothing simple about acting, but the direction of acting, and
Thank you.
and I think that was the first moment I knew it, and then I look back at some of the things I did, and I was like, oh my gosh. I was scrambling for things. I was like, I don't know, kind of thing. But then there was a person who it was undeniable. I would say the second time would have been one of our choir performances, because Miss Pittman gave us a lot, well, you specifically, a lot of solo parts. And I think every time we perform...
Yeah, I was definitely a precocious kid and then very much like happy whenever I was very fortunate.
I mean, it's not necessarily, an issue. Like, obviously it was well-deserving kind of thing.
Thank you.
I always think it's back to, like, the fact that I got, like, because obviously my voice back then was much higher, and, actually I was probably one of the highest sopranos for at least a couple of years there. And
I won't forget that. I loved that. I loved that you were a soprano. And I was in the alto section.
Yeah, it is definitely not... Yeah. And obviously, I think when it comes to whether or not, the pitch difference, okay, fair. I had the higher pitch. But when we're talking about control, when we're talking about the ability to utilize our instrument, that was something that always went to you. And I always knew that kind of thing. Because I knew that my voice was touch and go most times. Yeah, no, it's
well,
fine.
Everyone's voice adapts at different times, too. So it's...
Right.
And I think for me, I'm such a perfectionist in what I care about. And I always knew I wanted to be a performer in some way. So it was like, well, you gotta be, and not compete with other people, obviously. I never wanted to do that. It was intentionally, or anything, wanting to compete with anyone. But always, and I think that's you with fashion as well. You just know that you have to be the best for your own sake, not for anyone else, but for your own sake.
Yeah, Yeah, I was actually about to jump to that point eventually. I was
sorry.
gonna be
Yeah.
like, no, it's okay. I mean, I was kind of the same way in classes in school. It was like just because the teacher was teaching one thing, I was already ready for the next thing because I was already,
Absolutely.
and
You
the
were a
teacher
big
would be
learner,
like,
hey?
I mean, I tried to be, because
I loved school.
yeah, I
It's
feel like
great.
the depressing answer to this would be saying that I didn't have like a load of friends or anything like that. So I guess where I try to excel in was where I could, which was probably my schoolwork. Obviously the pressure, after grade 11, closer to graduation, it got quite a bit, for me to handle. So maybe, less, I wasn't the most, I don't know, determined kid back then. I think I may have, that's probably why I did an extra year too, is because I wasn't focused on my school anymore. It was more like, okay, I'm almost going to graduate here, and I've literally achieved, not a lot. So I'm like, I got to do something. Maybe that means I might have to. And then I came up with all these excuses, kind of a thing, and that's something that I won't say it's a regret, but it's definitely something that may have kept me from figuring out who I was earlier, maybe figuring out that I want to go into fashion design earlier. But then
But
I
look
also
at you,
think to myself,
You did it.
yeah, and I think sometimes it's all about you make the right choices or sometimes the wrong choices at a certain time so that you can get to the place you need to go,
Absolutely.
when it's right for you, when you don't plan these things. And
Yeah. You just have to
and I
take
guess
it.
yeah,
And keep
before
going.
yeah, I think so too. And then the third time I remember that I noticed that you had undeniable talent was obviously when we did our Drama 30 musical performance of Chicago.
Oh,
That was
so
another
fun.
time that I was. Yeah, and
Thank you.
obviously my voice was at that touch and go sort of moment there where it was like I was going to play Mary Sunshine. I was going to be,
Oh, yeah, that was great.
A male playing a female character. I have practiced it so well, I've memorized everything, but literally 2 days before show time, I got laryngitis.
I remember.
2 days before, and I
And you
remember
were so good in
Leora. Leora was like, "Okay, I can give you a reporter," and like within 2 days, I had to redo like new lines, and and I almost screwed it up really bad because I was like a second off or something like that from my line in that one song.
I didn't
They
even
both reached for
notice.
the gun. No one noticed because at first I was kind of zoned out because I was like, "Oh, this is not my part," and then all of a sudden I clicked in. I was like, "Oh, I gotta say my thing," and I said it almost as the beat was about to change. So I was like super close. But yeah, that after that I was just like, oh, I would have killed Mary Sunshine. This would have been great, but yeah. So, but what part of that, like your performance as Roxy Hart, was obviously just impossibly good. Like,
Thank you. Oh, wow. Thank you. I'm like red. Thank you.
yeah, okay, well.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, my goal wasn't to make
No,
you blush or
it's like
embarrass.
it's like in the good way. Like in just I
Okay.
really like that's really sweet of you to say. And
Yeah.
actually, I wanted to play Velma. Initially, I wanted to be
Oh,
Velma
right.
because I loved the movie and I loved Catherine Zeta-Jones's Velma.
Yes.
But Leora and Miss Pavlin both agreed. They were like, you know what, you got to play Roxy, and Kayla, she nailed Velma, and I it kind of like with anything, you just take it and you make it, because I then realized how awesome of a character Roxy Hart is, and just went with it and made her my own, and that was fun. Oh, that was such a fun show to be in with all of you. That was great. I'm glad that for all of us to do together, that was awesome.
Yeah, no, like I said, that it was really good, and hearing you be able to hit all those notes, able to obviously the dance moves were crazy. Like I couldn't believe
Really?
how much
Oh, thank
choreography
you.
was put into it. And I tried really good. I think I did, pretty well. And I wasn't
absolutely.
even
Everyone did a great
wasn't
job.
one of the big roles. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't like one of the big dancing roles, but I still thought like, this isn't even like a Mr. Susie musical for like the whole year. This is just for one class, and
for one class at the end of the semester.
Yeah, and it was students who put it on, like really, essentially. Miss Pavlin didn't really do a lot; she just kind of supervised. So it like the amount of skill it took to put that on. Like obviously, credit to Leora for.
She directed. It was awesome, and that was just such a great experience. That we all did. We all went, you know what, we're going to do this. And that's what I love about the arts in any form, is that when you're with, like, the people who are doing it because they care. And that's what I love about any kind of art, and and especially for musical theater, that's something I still want to do. I love musical theater. I will never not want to be on Broadway someday or just be a part of a musical, because those experiences, amazing.
Right. Yeah. No, I couldn't agree more, because even playing small roles, like anything from being one of the Munchkins in like The Wiz.
I remember that.
And and then getting the part of Flounder, and then due to unforeseen circumstances not being able to play the part of Flounder in The Little Mermaid, or being in that musical at all for that matter, like it was just, it was crushing. But like all the experiences I've had on stage, there's nothing that compares to it. Like
nothing.
Well, it's not really just pretending. It's literally living in this role. It's being the character.
You're being the And that's the thing, even with the music I write and when I perform, it's unmatched. I love the stage is my second home, no matter what I'm doing. Even if I thank you for complimenting my dancing. I feel like it's so hard for me. Like, I love dancing, and like I did train, but like it's definitely not. I think it's something that I have to work on more than singing, really, or even acting. So thank you, because those things that like you can do, but you're like, I'm not the best at it. That's like that for me. But yeah, and so with performing and writing my own music, it's the same thing. Yeah, where it's just like putting your emotions, that's performing, and not even just performing, but the arts, like with fashion and everything. It's putting your heart, putting yourself out into the world for everyone to see. Your creations, they come from you. It's a part of you. So it's terrifying, but it's also so gratifying when people relate or care about what you are creating, because it's for them too. It's not just for you, and that's what I love about the arts. It's not it shouldn't be a selfish art, like it shouldn't be a selfish avenue to take. It's for you, yes, but it's for everyone else that gets to experience it as well.
Yeah, and you brought up the whole element of people thinking that being in the arts is kind of more of a selfish profession, where it focuses on the one person. It doesn't really do a lot for, well, not to say that any career is always for other people, but it doesn't really contribute to anything except for entertainment purposes. And whether or not entertainment is important, while there's all these things happening in our world right now, it kind of you get that in your head where you're thinking like, maybe I should get a real job. You always say these kind of things, like, because they're more reliable, or, you're going to make it in these kind of professions, but not in anything under the art, avenue.
Yeah, or even the mentality of you should go to, like, I don't know, you should go to school to be a doctor, and then you can do your art career or whatever.
Yeah.
And I've luckily had such a supportive mom, and she's the best in the entire world. I shout her out on like every interview I do and every podcast and everything. She's the best. And I luckily have her, and I also just have never, I've always known this is what I've had to do, you know? And I've been fortunate to be like that and just know and go, you know what? I can't do anything else because I won't live a full life if I'm not
Yeah.
doing what I'm doing and what I've always loved to do, you know? And I think everyone should be able to live their life like that and have the strength. You have the strength. You, your own person, you have the strength to go, this is what I want to do, and I'm going to do it. And just do it. Because if you care about it enough, you will learn the skills you need. Because obviously, like, no one's just, like, perfect at what they want to do right off the bat. You always have to learn. You always have to improve. Meet people who... my mom and I are watching Grey's Anatomy, and this applies, I swear. And
Awesome.
and one of the characters said, she's like, if you're in a room and you realize you're the smartest person in the room, find another room. And I completely agree. You always should be around people who know more than you and who have more skill than you, because you can learn from them. But that's the thing, is doing what you want to do, applying all of your energy and time into that instead of living out someone else's dream or society's dream or goal of what you need to be. It's garbage. Sorry. Living your dream. Dreams are thought of as like these fantasies that will never happen. But then I remember even when I was a kid, like they'd be like, oh, well, like no one succeeds as an actor or a singer. And I'm like, but don't you see how many people are actors and singers and
It's contradictory.
writers and
Yeah.
fashion designers? Like, it doesn't, when you think about what's not clicking, you know, when you think about it, it doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
That logic, it's like, but there's so many people succeeding, and I'm going to be one of them because I have to. You know, if you have to do something, don't let anything stop you. Oh, sorry, that's my little rant. Thank you for
No.
enduring that.
I love it. Actually, you know, obviously I have so many ideas for my show here, that like so many different, you know, segments that, you know, you want to have, you know, pre-planned out, you know, with specific guests doing these different things. And then sometimes it just doesn't really work out. But then there's times like this where we've kind of gone into those segments without actually me saying, like, this is that segment. Like, bringing up a show you watch. I actually have a segment called What's on the Telly, and where me and the guests talk about what we've been watching, or what we've been
that's
playing,
awesome.
or things like that. And obviously telly, because I love British television, so I have to refer
Yeah.
to it that way. And then obviously, you know, going off on a little rant, I have a segment called Going Off, that I've been
gosh.
trying to
Well, I
get
did,
people...
didn't I?
Yeah, I've been trying to get, you know, someone to come on and do that, where they can go off about something that just really grinds their gears, you know, is really something that always bothers them, and obviously someone telling someone they can't do something because it's not, you know, the right career for them, or it's not a feasible goal to have, you know, just because in their eyes they could never do something like that, or, you know, all these excuses.
Or they
that
believe that they can't. Yeah.
or that too, you know, and in the end, it's really just an excuse for not going through and working for something. And
Yeah.
I feel like that is like the perfect, you know, rant to have to just
Thank
clear
you.
the air about that, you know, and it just happened naturally, and I love it.
I love that. I love all your segments. I think that's such a great idea.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and that's just, you know, a couple. Like there's, you know, I'm going to eventually have, I eventually want to have my co-star come on. Her name's Taryn. She's one of my friends. She's had so much computer issues that she wasn't able to be
Aw,
on the
that
first 4
sucks.
episodes. I know. And I think she's got some stuff going on in her personal life, so she's been...
Right. Well, I'd love to meet her sometime.
Yes, and I think, especially after, a conversation like this, like, I think my listeners and viewers, they definitely will want you to come on again, especially, I want you to come on again, so, like,
Thank you. Oh, I'd love to come on again. I love just talking with people, and especially people like you. Yeah.
Thank you, yeah, yeah, because, there's a lot of different segments that, I have plans for. One of them is, I don't know if I said it off the top, but like if you feel like you would need to like swear or anything, like go for it, because like my segment that I'm gonna talk about is called "Shit I Found on Social Media." Like it's literally in the title or whatever, and it's literally just me going through like the best of the things I've shared, whether it's memes, whether it's like a news article about something that is hilarious, or it's just a TikTok video I found that I love.
Mm-hmm.
I do that. Yeah, I don't have much prepared in that sense. One of the things that I saw on the internet this week is this thing about people being worried about lesbian farmers invading the south of the U.S.
What?
And I just, yeah, it's obviously like, government officials, people like governors or senators, that they're worried about their sort of southern lifestyle being threatened by the emergence of lesbian farmers, and they think that any woman who's a farmer and doesn't have like a husband is probably a lesbian. Yeah, it's just ridiculous kind of stuff. And and obviously people have made into a meme, and they're just like, please reshare this if you want lesbian farmers to invade the south. So like I've been punching the reshare.
That. Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So stupid. Sorry.
Yeah.
That's so funny. I love that. You know what? Wouldn't we be so lucky to have lesbian farmers invade the South? That is so funny. Oh my god. Like, just because that's so ridiculous. But also, yes, please.
Yes.
That's
It's
fantastic.
like,
Let's make that happen. That's great.
and I've talked to people like that who are like Americans, and they're just saying like, well, these people I talked to are specifically not like against anyone in the LGBTQ plus community.
Against, human rights. Yeah.
Exactly. And they're just like bring on the lesbian farmers, bring on all these kinds of people. They're like, we need more inclusivity, in the US, we got
and representation
rid of,
as well,
and representation. We got rid of a toxic element that was, and I'm talking about, our presidential administration. Yes.
Yeah.
That's a tongue twister
Thank
right
goodness.
there. Yeah, and now we've got someone in who actually will get things done, and a vice president who can take over to get even more things done, kind of a thing, in a certain time.
Absolutely.
So, all these kinds of things that have been better in our world coming into 2021. If anything is going to re-spark my energy to, get things done, to turn my dreams into goals, it's things like that, and like
that's amazing.
Posts like that where it's just like you're just like, oh, I need this to happen because it's just going to ignite the fire even more. It's going to make me very motivated, and
yeah,
yeah,
any kind of rise up against
bigotry,
exclusivity and bigotry is welcomed in my household. I completely agree. I think I don't know how you can agree with people taking away rights from human beings who are different than you. I'm a very logical person, and that doesn't make sense to me. That doesn't make any fracking sense. I hate it. It's so dumb. It's another rant I go off on all the time. It's a reason why, and this is so funny. It's like with anything. Why are divorce rates up? Oh, why are there so many gay people now? It's like, okay, first of all, so divorce, let's talk about that. Maybe it's just that society has framed it so, especially men and women have to stay in marriages, even if they're toxic or they just aren't in love anymore.
Yeah.
And they're realizing that they don't have to do that. And also, there's always been gay people, there's always been queer people, there's always been trans people, there's always been the people you see now are only being shown because we've all had to break down barriers. Women, people of color, LGBTQ+, break down barriers over centuries of being pushed down.
Yeah.
So, you know, we've always been there.
Yeah.
It's just that we're finally getting a voice.
We thought racism
it's
was
like
over.
Rant 2.
Yeah,
Rant 2.
no, but like in 2020, we thought racism was over because around us we don't see it, we don't contribute to it, we don't.
That was
but
so silly.
when you look at the States, it's still huge down there, and
it's and it's here too.
With the First Nations people, we have a lot of racism
Absolutely.
towards them. Yeah.
And you know what's funny is the only reason First Nations aren't talked about as much down in the States is because they've been wiped out. And that is just tragic. And I think, I know. I think it's ignorant for anyone to think that racism is over or being close to over, because it's ingrained in our society. Same with misogyny. Same with anti-LGBTQ+. It's ingrained, and it's like you have to dig it out and just rip it out and destroy it. And that takes time, but it also takes people who believe in change to do it, like us, and like all the people you see on social media who care. And it doesn't matter what generation you're in. If you are helping change it, you're on the right side. You're on the right side of change. So, rant 2. There you go.
Yeah, 2.5, because it's
2.5.
Yeah.
That was like a 2.5, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was kind of a two-parter from.
It was its own rant.
Your last thing. Yeah. Exactly. No, it's really good because obviously. Well, my second episode was just me because I didn't have any guests that week. But my first and third episode, I had my friend Maddie on, and I mean he's a great. It's short for Madison, but he just goes by Maddie. He doesn't have conversations like this. I think he doesn't take himself or everything around him as seriously, and that's okay because I think sometimes you need someone like that who lets everything just roll off them, and
life gets hard.
Yeah, but sometimes you kind of miss that. You kind of miss the element where you were like, we're not going to talk about serious things, but they're serious too. But we're going to do it in a way that, it's positive, and it's not necessarily, calling people out. But it is, but it isn't. You know what I'm trying to say? Like it's
I think it's just like supporting the people. And the changes that are being made, and I think my biggest thing is, especially if you have a platform, use that platform to be positive, to be supportive, and to lift voices up that need to be heard. And I think that's why that's why I think it's really important to be vocal. No matter who you are. But especially if you understand what it's like to be oppressed. In any way.
Right. Whether
Whether a woman, you're trans, person of color, all three. Ugh.
all at the same time.
It's just, And I agree. I think, I really like to stay positive, but I also like to discuss these issues because, you know what? They're happening. And we have the ability to, even just by discussing this, inspire and spark change. And that's what matters.
Yeah, I totally agree. And, not to say that any of the other podcasts I listen to aren't good in their own specific ways, but I find that they don't really touch these topics. They stay, as separate from it as they could. I mean, obviously they made, they told well, we talked a little bit about, some of the racism back in like when it hit its apex in the States last year. And, we're talking about George Floyd, we're talking about Breonna Taylor. These kind of moments where they're newsworthy, they're big. It's kind of sad that it takes big moments, it takes really tragic events to bring these kind of conversations out. And I also knew, like you said, that I'm going to use my platform to be positive, but I also know that some of these things do need talking about. They do need,
and you can talk about them in a positive way.
Exactly.
That there is change being made constantly, and that there are so many people out there who are making change and who believe in change, and believe in the people who deserve to live better lives than they do and have been living. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's one thing that I always try to do is maintain that positive mindset. And part of what keeps me in that positive mindset is knowing that I can come on here and I can help share that positivity with others. It was one of the driving factors for me to put the B Show on. When I originally planned it, I planned not only to have my friend Taryn as a co-star, but I actually had planned to have other people be hosts with me, like co-host the show with me, people who had different positions on things, different ideas of things. I had initially reached out to someone who's a voiceover actress, and it didn't occur to me at first that these kind of topics would be something that wasn't something they would be comfortable with. And after a while, especially when Saskatoon finally banned conversion therapy, when I said I wanted to talk about that, the minute I said that, she was like, "No, if you're doing that, I'm not a part of this." And I said, "Well, why? You're already willing to be a co-host with a trans woman. What about this?"
That's already making a statement,
Yeah.
Everything we do makes a statement. And I'm not criticizing your friend at all, because you know what? We all have our limits, and that's totally fine. I do too. And that's totally her call.
Right.
I will say I don't agree with that. I'm happy that the ban went through. I was surprised to see that it hadn't gone through yet.
Yeah.
I was like, wait, we haven't done this yet?
I thought it was already happened.
Me too. I think most people did. So it was quite a shock, but that's that's honestly something really positive about social media, is that you see things that you wouldn't have otherwise seen. So thank goodness it went through. Gosh. I'm very happy for everyone, especially trans people like you. I'm sure that was a wonderful day for you.
I mean, it's weird because I guess you can say that I have a bit of privilege having a family that's, the level of support they have for me, it's still more than a lot of trans people have, a lot of LGBT youth have, because I still consider myself youth, even though I'm way past, 18 years old, 22 now, so.
I wouldn't say you're privileged, I'd say you're deserving and fortunate.
Okay,
and
that's fair.
And that your family is, from what I'm hearing, is treating you the way you deserve to be treated, and everyone does. But carry on.
Yeah, no, I mean, my dad and stepmom are very Christian people, and it's still taking them a bit of time to, well, because basically when I came out, it was like they had to bury and grieve over a son they no longer have. It was kind of like a death in the family, but also a birth of something. And it's hard to celebrate both the celebration of life and, mourn a loved one simultaneously, and one of them just happened to overlap a bit. They're getting better though. They're calling me B, they're when they can use my pronouns, but there's still some times where you'll get a he come out, and with correction, they sometimes correct themselves, sometimes I have to correct them. There's sometimes where it's a bit of an annoyance. They find that like they just shouldn't have to, but I try my best to be as I don't know if you would classify it as I don't know, cooperative with them, I guess. I'm doing my best to keep the peace, try not to spark too much. I feel like they're doing pretty well for where they're at, but there's still a level of understanding that it's not an attack on them. It's more just to keep it fresh in their mind who I am, and that's really all it is. My mom, though, she's a lot better than my dad. Well, I shouldn't say that, because there's no one higher than her or anything. She's just taken to this a little bit better. Openly admits to people I'm her daughter. She'll still mess up the pronouns, but she always catches herself, or I catch it for her, and she's like, "Oh, thank you." She's gotten to that stage where correction is now something to be thankful for, and I think that's
so
a
sweet.
huge step. My stepdad knows of where I'm at, understands it, has actively said to keep it straight in his head, he will still refer to me by my birth name and use my birth pronouns, and I don't think I can convince him otherwise. He's a very stubborn person.
Right.
So, but at least he understands what it is, and understands. I mean, I guess it's half a win. So, I'm trying to look for the positives in it. So yeah, and then my sisters
That's great.
obviously have been okay with it. My younger sisters don't really get it. My sister Ariana, who was on earlier on the first half of this episode, she's autistic. She's 16. She kind of understands. Like, she calls me sister now, and all that. But it's really hard to understand what she understands of it, what she thinks of it, because it's really
Right.
hard to understand an autistic mind. I believe, though, she is good with it. I just don't know if she knows why she's good with it, in this sense. She thinks about a lot of things, though, so I'm not too worried about it.
Yeah.
She's actually taking media school right now. She's actually going in the
Really?
direction of film studies herself.
Hey.
Yeah,
Aw.
I was really surprised when grade 8 came, or grade 9 came, and she was like, "Yeah, for grade 11, I want to take media school. I see this program is here. Yeah, I'm gonna spend my grade 11 year taking media school." And I was like,
Hey, that's great. It's a great
like,
program.
yeah, she's gonna focus more on the film production element of it, and I think that's awesome too. And the minute I said I was doing a podcast, especially like a video podcast, she was like, "Wait till I'm done my studies, then I can help you." And I said, it's all good, Ariana. I think I've got it. But if you want to make this podcast from going from where it is to, like, I don't know, something TV worthy, we'll get there. We'll cross that bridge when we get to it, kind of a thing. But I always want her to focus on her work, try to be better, because she's brilliant. Like, she's, autistic people generally are, a lot more brilliant than a lot of people. So I try to make sure that she's, sticks to her studies, becomes, excels in everything she does, and then once she knows absolutely like everything, like she's an expert, then I was like, okay, then I'll indulge help or things like that, because I mean, I guess it's a negative thing, because I always feel like I could never be that good, kind of thing. And if one person in my family can be, then I want them to, work really hard for it and stuff like that. But I guess I shouldn't have that mentality, considering I'm going down, something,
Well, look at you,
path
yeah.
that is, it's this very special path itself. It takes a lot of intelligence and creativity to go down the fashion design route as well. And but yeah, I think eventually she'll be a permanent figure on the podcast, whether it's in a producer slash co-host element. I don't know. I like to think of my show right now as this larva that keeps going in and out of metamorphosis, back to a larva
Right.
stage, go back to the butterfly stage, go back, just constantly. We're constantly evolving, we're constantly changing. And I think it's partially just, when I get used to this. I think last episode I finally got used to this format of talking to people. Definitely was not this brave or anything, back in high school. I would never just randomly call people up and, hey, let me interview, let me talk to you on a podcast.
Well, that's
Like,
awesome,
let me just,
though.
yeah, and I still consider myself introverted in some ways, but
Me too,
yeah,
man.
it's,
I'm super introverted. Don't worry about it.
yeah, no,
Me too.
I feel like I was going somewhere with this,
Oh,
but
sorry.
I kind of got off track. No, that's okay. You continue there while I figure out.
No. Yeah. Oh, and I apologize for saying "man" there. I didn't mean it in any
Right.
negative way. I use that lingo.
That is not something you should be
anyone.
worried about. Yeah,
Okay.
no.
Thank you.
Because, even dude has become a thing that's become gender neutral, and, figures of speech, you don't feel like you have to be concerned about that, because if it's just how you talk, it comes off, fine. Like, it doesn't bother me in that sense. It's usually just when people refer to me directly, like, this is kind
because
of
you're
vague.
a woman.
Yeah.
Whereas,
no.
I call everyone dude and man.
Yeah, I definitely say, come on, man, or hey, man, like, what's up, or hey.
Yeah.
I also call women bud, and I sometimes think that
Bud,
women
I
don't
love
like
bud.
being called bud. Some people
I
are
love
just like,
bud.
I am
That's so
not
fun.
your bud. And it's just like, oh. I mean, I've kind of gotten
Oh, sorry,
somewhere where, like, yeah, and then it's become a Canadian thing where it's like, I have to call people bud, like,
Absolutely.
And, yeah. I don't know where that conversation began. I'm just going to jump forward here and continue on. Maybe a little bit of a rapid fire here. I always love when people who interview other people do it, where they give like 5 or so questions where the person just has to like spit off the first answer that comes to their head. And I don't know. I don't know if you'd be good with it, because I'm just gonna basically ask you random things. They could be hypothetical too. Like they could pertain to something that hasn't happened yet, or could happen, or might have happened. Things like that. All right. Right. Why not? Yeah, for sure. Okay. First question: if you didn't go down the path of being a singer, or a Broadway actress, what would you have picked? Oh. It seems we've lost Valores for a moment. I'm not really sure what happened mid-question. Maybe we'll give it a moment, and we might get her back. For those of you that are joining, where are we at? We're at 9 here. Well, I'm still ready to go. I'm still ready for some more conversation. I was just about to get into some deep questions, see what kind of things would have come off from that. Not really sure what's going on here. Let's see. Yeah, I still got full bars, so it's not on my end. Yeah, we'll give Ava Valores a little bit of time here. I hope you've enjoyed the conversation we had so far. It was getting intense in some parts, and I'm deeply into that kind of a thing. You know what? I'm gonna text Dolores here just a second. I seem to have lost you. And we'll send it. Yeah. Because we're going to do the rapid fire. I was going to do a game segment. Maybe, I don't know, maybe. We'll see. Game segment might have to wait for when Theo comes on. Not really sure. Oh. She says everything's okay on her end, so we have to figure out what's going on. Yeah. Okay. We might be able to get her back quickly. Maybe. Hopefully. Yes. Just think here. I don't know. This could be a moment where I start singing something random. Could be like elevator music, you know, when our guest goes off for a second. No, I'm not going to do that. That would be mind-numbingly boring. And that's not what I'm about. Not now. Not ever. Now someone needs to say, "All right, daytime Emmy." Alright, so she's trying to get back on. I'm not really sure. You know what? I'm just going to... What if I reloaded the page? Oh, cancel. Yeah, we're not going to do that. Interesting. It's not loading the link anymore. It's not loading the link anymore. What do we do when the link isn't being loaded anymore? I have an idea.